I want to call to order the Amberley Village Council meeting of November 13, 2023. Please call the roll.
Richard Bardak. Ben Hunt.
Here.
Tom Muething.
Here.
Keely Paul. Here. Bob Rosen.
Here.
Jay Schatz.
Here.
Dara Wood.
Here.
Scott Larmer.
Here.
Chief Wallace.
Here. And if everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see so many here. First item on our agenda this evening is our minutes from our last regularly scheduled council meeting. Those were circulated in advance. Are there any changes to those? Seeing none, we can consider the minutes approved. And then there was a special council meeting of October 23rd, and those minutes were circulated in advance. Any comments on those? Seeing none, we can consider those minutes approved. Next item on the agenda is our finance report for September 2023.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report out on the revenue for September 2023. There was $314,000 in earnings tax that was collected during the month of September. This brings us to a year-to-date number of $3.1 million. So we're currently sitting about 85% of what we had estimated to collect for 2023. Other revenues collected during the month, we actually took in $985,000, which includes the $314,000 of earnings tax. That was primarily made up of property tax. We received a property tax payment from the county in the amount of $560,000. We receive those payments twice a year. So we're currently sitting at $1.1 million for the budget, but we've actually taken in just slightly more than that from property tax for the year. On the total revenue for the village, we've collected about 87% of what we had estimated for this particular year. On the expense side, this particular month was a very high expense, primarily because we made transfers. So transfers from the general fund to other funds that we purchased from. So it was a very high expense month of $1.1 million. Our budget for the year is $6.9 million. We have already spent $5.4 million, so we're sitting about 78% expended on the budget. And that left us at the end of September with a $5.6 million general fund unencumbered balance. And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions for the manager? If not, we'll move on to committee reports. First committee is the Finance Committee, and as chair of the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee met 2 times in the past month. The one time was to review the finances, which the village manager just reported on. And the second time we met to meet with Claire Eichner, who our current village treasurer, Rick Kay, who has done the treasurer job for 15 years, has expressed an interest to move away from the job. I think Rick has done an incredible job over these 15 years in a role that is absolutely critical for the village. But what Rick was finding is that, especially as somebody who gets busy during tax season, that it was a bit much for him. So we were fortunate enough to identify, and in fact it was Rick Kay who helped us identify Claire Eichner to take on the role. This role is required to be a resident of the village to be the treasurer. And I say the critical role is in a small community like Amberley, it's not always easy to get segregation of duties. And the treasurer performs a critical role as the second signatory on all checks and reviews not only that second signatory, but makes sure that there's proper support as far as purchase orders, et cetera, and then also does the reconciliations. Claire is someone that Rick Kay went to college with, and so I think it's a great situation if Claire needs additional help Rick will be there to help. And Claire has done similar roles in other nonprofits and things like that. So the Finance Committee agreed to recommend to council the appointment of Claire Eichner as the village treasurer, and that appointment will be made at the first regularly scheduled council meeting in December. And that concludes my finance report. Are there any questions? If not, we will move on to the Health, Compensation and Benefits Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Compensation and Benefits Committee met last week just for one item regarding the holiday gift card program for all members of the Amberley Village staff. So tonight, we would like to make a motion for council to approve the $300 gift card program for all full-time employees. That is then also prorated for all of our part-time employees. This is kind of a standard little bonus for all of the village employees to help show some appreciation for all the hard work they do in the village during the holiday season.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the $300 gift program for employees. This will be the third year at the $300 level. We had previously, I think for 7 or 8 years, we're at $250. And this will authorize the village manager to implement that program. So the moved and second. Any questions? If not, it's been moved and seconded that we authorize the village manager to put in place the $300 gift program. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Be it noted that that resolution passes unanimously.
And that concludes my report.
Okay, we'll now move on to the Health, Education, and Welfare Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Health and Education and Welfare Committee met last week, actually, and the first item on our agenda was to discuss deer culling. Each year, we bring this before the committee to review and decide if we want to continue our deer culling program or make changes to it. Chris Fritsch presented to us, and for those that need a little background, it started in 2007, and it's really to reduce the number of deer in the village, to reduce auto accidents, yard damage, complaints, and maintaining a healthy herd. It's done with crossbows by sharpshooters in the Amberley Police Department, and our permit is to cull up to 50 deer a year. Last year, we culled 47, and it's nice to know that we donated 1,400 pounds of meat to a few organizations, so it's nice that that also results in helping some people in need. The committee felt that based on the reports that it's working, accidents are down again. There were only 4 deer strikes reported in 2023 in car accidents. And also, as a part of the program, every 3 years we were doing an infrared deer survey. The cost is about $7,000 for this. It doesn't really change how many deer that we cull because our permit is for 50, and so the committee was recommending that we do not do one this year, that we wait, and we kind of just look at that each year to determine if we need it to go ahead and do it to save a little bit of funds. So the committee voted to continue, or recommended to continue the program in this next year, but to not do the infrared imaging. And the next item was to discuss the proposed changes to the non-discrimination ordinance that the Human Rights Commission had submitted to us. We had asked our law solicitor, Andy Kakey, to take a look and make some recommendations. We felt some of the changes put the village at risk financially and legally, so while we all on the committee wanted a stronger language, we wanted to make sure that there was less risk. So he made some recommendations and put in another draft that took into account that there would be a process for complaining. It did not include an education piece, which was something that was important to the committee and the Human Rights Commission. So at this point, we've asked for the potential changes that Andy made to go back to the Human Rights Commission for them to look at it and discuss and come back to us again with some recommendations. Any
Are there any
questions?
questions? Not, we will move
Concludes my
on.
report.
We will move on to the Streets, Public Utilities, and Sewers Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I'm going to introduce the second reading of ordinance 2023-8, which authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Remke for solid waste and recycling collection. As you recall from our last meeting, in the year 2020, the village entered into a contract with Remke for 3 years. The price of the services for those 3 years was fixed. At the time, Remke offered the village an additional 2 years as an option where the price would increase. At the time, the village did not exercise that option. Since the contract was up at the end of this year, Remke agreed to honor the numbers that they put into the original contract in 2020. So this is the second reading of the ordinance, and I would move that we waive. I have three motions. The first motion is that we waive the third reading of the ordinance 2023-8.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we waive the third reading with respect to ordinance 2023-8. This is something that is required to be able to put the contract in place in time for the end of the year. Are there any, it's been moved and seconded to waive the third reading. Any questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we waive the third reading with respect to ordinance 2023-8. Please call the roll.
Richard Bardak. Yes. Ben Hunt.
Yes.
Tom Muething.
Yes.
Keely Paul.
Yes.
Bob Rosen.
Yes.
Jay Schatz.
Yes.
Dara Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, the second part of my report then is to ask council to approve ordinance 2023-8, which will authorize our city manager to enter into a contract with Remke for 2 years for the solid waste and recycling collection.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2023-8, authorizing the 2-year extension with Rumpke. Are there any questions or comments? If not, it has been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2023-8. Please call the roll.
Richard Bardak. Yes. Ben Hunt.
Yes.
Tom Muething.
Yes.
Keely Paul.
Yes.
Bob Rosen.
Yes.
Excuse me. Jay Schatz.
Yes.
Dara Wood.
Yes.
And finally, Mr. Mayor, I would move that council approve the ordinance 2023-8 with an emergency provision so that it can go effect immediately.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2023-8 with an emergency clause to allow the contract, or to allow the ordinance to go into effect with immediate effect. Are there any questions? If not, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2023-8 as an emergency measure. Please call the roll.
Richard Bardak. Yes. Ben Hunt.
Yes.
Tom Muething.
Yes.
Keely Paul.
Yes.
Bob Rosen.
Yes.
Jay Schatz.
Yes.
Dara Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Next committee is the Investment Committee, and again, I chair the Investment Committee. The Investment Committee met with our investment advisors on November 1st. This is something we do at least on an annual basis to look over the village's investments. The village primarily invests, it's very restricted what villages and townships and cities can invest in, but we mainly invest in certificates of deposits and the equivalent. And we have been striving over the last couple of years to make sure that we get our investment portfolio basically into what we consider a proper ladder position, which means that we have maturities equally over a number of years. In our case, a number of years ago, we were looking at a ladder that would have spread over 3 years. We have since said we wanted to spread that over 5 years, and we're hoping that come the end of next year, we will have now achieved a kind of ladder which will have 20% of the maturities, or roughly 20% maturing in each of those 5 years. But next year, over a 4 or 5 month period alone, we have over $3 million of maturities that we have to put out. The good news is, as we all know, interest rates are significantly higher than they were a few years ago. So the village will benefit from that as we invest that over the 5-year period. And that will become a significant revenue, more significant revenue source for the village over the coming period. But so the investment committee met and just stressed with our advisor and with the village manager that come the end of 2024, we really want to make sure we're in that position. And I'm sure that council will probably want to meet maybe a couple times next year to review that we are achieving that to make it as we go along. And that concludes my investment committee report. Are there any questions? If not, we will move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several items in the village manager's report, and I really only want to just offer congratulations to the returning 6 council members, starting a new term here next month, because I want to cede my time for the recognition of Mayor Muething later in the service. That's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the manager?
Not to take away from the mayor, but I do have a question. Do we have any updates from the port in terms of their change of strategy, possible change in terms of Cincinnati Center Point?
So
what's known as Gibson?
Certainly. So Cincinnati, or the industrial site on Section Road, there has been discussion within the port. They've also talked with their brokers about doing some different marketing. So there still are internal discussions. I have not heard back whether they have received the official approval from Jobs Ohio, and that is really the key to it. But I'm not aware that has been received yet.
Do we think that could happen by end of the year?
I would expect it to, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. Chief?
I'm not going to give my time up for you right now. Couple things. The flock camera system, almost all the flock cameras in the council approved are almost in place. We have one left to be installed. We have actually a few different neighborhoods that have came on board now that are buying them for the areas of their subdivision, entering their part of their area of their community. We have used the flock cameras already since they've been in place. Recently, we used it to identify when a vehicle passed that was burglarized in a home in Reading. So the things are already, paying tribute. So we appreciate council for supporting those. So on the burglaries, obviously work on that, but keep in mind, we want everybody to stay diligent, even though there has been arrests made throughout the community. Stay diligent because there are more people out there and they're continuing to happen. If you see something, say something. Continue to call us and report things to us. And last is, this is No Shave November for us. So council has seen something probably come out from us. So the officers in the back of the room, they're wearing the orange badges as well as orange T-shirts because we tie our No Shave with the MS from an officer that we lost from MS. And then officers pay $50 to be able to do the No Shave, and then we present the family with the money to help them throughout Christmas. That concludes my report.
Any questions for the chief? Okay, on to the mayor's report. I'll do it real quick. The Environmental Stewardship Committee will meet this coming Monday, November 20th at 7 o'clock down in the community room. And the Environmental Stewardship Committee also recently did some brush clearing up at Amberley Green where the prairie is going to clear some brush around a couple trees. And, you know, at least from my perspective, the one tree that cleared, the tree looks a lot better, and it's already growing substantially just from clearing that little bit of brush. So, and that concludes my mayor's report. Any questions? Okay, new business? Okay, Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So when Tom Muething told me several months ago that he wasn't seeking re-election, I immediately went into denial, and I'm sort of stayed there. But since I have worked closely with Tom and relied on him for the last 12 years, I just could not see Amberley Village without Tom Muething, because he's had such an impact on the village. And I have worked for many council members in my 40 years of managing local governments, and Tom has become one of the most respected elected officials. And he certainly has risen to the top of my mental list that I keep, primarily because of his servant heart. And Tom has constantly demonstrated his unwavering dedication to serving our community. He's so selfless with his commitment to public service, and for that, I certainly admire him. But while pondering how to express my gratitude to Tom on this occasion, I went to my early Tom Muething file. So Tom's been on council for 12 years, so I have a Tom Muething file. And I found what I expected, which were handwritten reports by Tom on notebook paper. And Cindy, you'll be able to relate to that. And Peg, yes, on notebook paper. Yes, I'm sure you do. Yes. Because that is just so Tom Muething. That's how he used to communicate with me, give me these handwritten notes. But Tom's financial acumen and how he can examine just a few numbers and come to the same conclusion that it took me hours to achieve, it's nothing short of amazing. And so that is what has impressed me throughout this past 12 years. And I know that Tom has a photographic memory, and I certainly have come to rely on him for his financial prowess. Well, you know that I do a rather lengthy manager's report each month, and I've done that for the last 12 years. And it takes hours to compose, and I usually report on just 2 or 3 items during the council meeting. But as I was filtering through this early Tom Muething file, I came across a note from Tom, and it stood out for me. It said, "Manager's report." I don't need all this detail. And I'm sure Tom didn't need it, because he certainly has had his finger on the pulse of what is happening in Amberley Village. But I have used Tom as a sounding board, and even though we have similar ideologies, Tom can quickly articulate how the village should approach various issues. And he has an innate ability to ascertain those ideas, and he seeks out those opinions and those feelings, and he has that capacity to lead even on difficult decisions. And that is impressive. And he certainly has been an advocate for fiscal responsibility, and that certainly resonated with me immediately. Well, Tom's leadership of Amberley Village has been outstanding, and his love of the community just shines through and through. The position of mayor, I know, can be time-consuming and challenging, and it does require personal sacrifice. And I can tell you, when a meeting is scheduled, Tom is available 99% of the time. And his only conflict is when I'm trying to schedule a meeting when Xavier is playing at home. Now, incidentally, the Xavier Musketeers had approximately 192 home games in the last 12 years, so we stayed away from those dates to schedule village meetings. Well, you know, Tom is a numbers person, and he has attended 640 committee meetings. And most of these committees, he doesn't even get to vote. He's just there. So he is there, but it's not just about being there. Tom is present. And after everyone else chimes in, Tom provides a comment or two that puts the matter into perspective. It is such a worthy trait. It really is. Well, Tom's first council meeting was on December the 12th of 2011. So he's been on council for 4,382 days. And he has attended 166 council meetings. So during Tom's 12 years on council, 358 resolutions and 152 ordinances have been approved. But numbers aside, Tom has been an exceptional mayor and a leader as he has really coalesced our village and our community, and he's challenged us, especially staff, to make the best choices for the village. And I applaud him because you have to make difficult decisions, and he has really helped us align the village in ways that has made all of us proud of him being our mayor. So, Tom, you've been remarkable for your steady and your compassionate leadership. And from an employee perspective, Tom is highly regarded. Employees tell me all the time when you've been cited in the village, as you have probably walked in areas known very few to most of us. But they also let me know where you've been seen picking up trash or rescuing an item from the side of the road or checking out something at Amberley Green. Our employees admire you and your service, and it hasn't gone without notice how you quickly acknowledge their dedication to the village in doing their jobs. So the employees have great admiration for you as you've always been supportive of them. And Cindy, I want to thank you and acknowledge you for allowing us to have Tom for the last 12 years. Your enduring patience and support made Tom's service possible. So that doesn't go unnoticed. And we certainly have appreciated Tom's public service to Amberley. So thank you, Cindy. Well, during the last 12 years, Tom, we have grown together, and you have certainly made a lot possible here in the village. But more importantly, you have helped immensely to make it happen. You really have. And I just want to thank you, Tom, for all that you've done to move our village forward. Thank you for your service. And now I'd like to turn things over to Councilmember Bob Rosen, who will present a proclamation on behalf of Hamilton County.
Thank you, Mr. Village Manager. I have to say, Tom, I've never seen you look more radiant than you are tonight. He's had a smile on his face since he came in. So it's nice to see that. Thank you, Mr. Larmer. Unfortunately, County Commissioner Driehaus was unable to join us this evening as she tested positive for COVID this morning. So you have me instead. I'd like to take a moment to thank her for her recognition of the mayor's service to our community and to wish her a speedy recovery. And now I'm going to read the proclamation that was issued by the Hamilton County Commissioners today. Whereas Tom Muething tonight presides over his final meeting of Amberley Village Council after 10 years as mayor. And whereas Mayor Muething has served 6 consecutive terms on Amberley Village Council, and whereas Mayor Muething has served as council representative to the Environmental Stewardship Committee for 10 of his 12 years on council and has actively advocated for the preservation of nature, contributing significantly to the community's embrace of sustainability and green initiatives. And whereas Mayor Muething has demonstrated a profound commitment to the community, countless hours of selfless service, and boasts attendance at nearly every committee meeting during his mayoral tenure. And whereas Mayor Muething is appreciated for his strength in leadership, guidance, and common sense legislation, which has been geared towards the inclusion of all members of the community. And whereas Tom Muething has demonstrated steadfast leadership, financial acumen, and tireless efforts in fostering a vibrant and sustainable community over the past decade. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of the County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, recognizes the hard work and dedication of Mayor Muething and does hereby proclaim this 13th day of November 2023 as Tom Muething Day in all of Hamilton County. By order of the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio.
But thank you, Mr. Rosen. I'd now like to call to the podium Vice Mayor Ben Hunt, who will present Mayor Muething with a plaque on behalf of Village Council. So, Vice Mayor Ben Hunt.
You want me down there? Huh?
You can stay there.
I can stay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Larmer, and thanks to all who were able to join us here tonight. It's, again, very nice to see a large group here this evening. On behalf of all of us on council, I want to thank you for your continued service and many years of service to the village, and to say what an honor and blessing it has been to work by your side. I'm sure I speak for all former council members as well as current council members with whom you've served. We will all miss your sly sense of humor, your bullish predictions in the Finance Committee, but most of all, your genuine care for each and every one of us. It's my pleasure to present you with this plaque commemorating your 12 years of service to Amberley Village and highlighting your 10 years as our mayor. Under your leadership, the village has been strengthened both financially and as a community. Your common sense guidance, firm but gentle demeanor, and ongoing leadership by example have left an indelible mark on our community. You leave it better than how you found it, and your influence has made each of us a more valuable contributor for having known and worked with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hunt. At this time, we would like to invite any of our current council members if they would like to speak. Ms. Wood.
I would, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I just want to say how much I have appreciated your leadership over these years in Amberley, and especially for me being being a newbie to the council this year. I asked a real lot of questions in the meetings, and you never once made me feel like they were dumb questions. You explained it thoroughly and never made me feel as if it was like annoyed, even if you were, I don't know. But you never made me feel that way, so I appreciate that. I have learned a lot from you in this last year and a half, and Scott put it very well, his comment about sometimes the meeting goes on and there's discussion, and then all of a sudden you kind of come in at the end with this comment. It's like, aha, I didn't think of that. So I will miss that, definitely. And I'll miss your incredible knowledge base. It's going to be odd to sit in a meeting and not be able to say, Mr. Mayor, can you give us a little history on that? because that has come in handy quite a bit. And I just want to say you will definitely be missed. I will miss you up here, and I'm glad that I came in when I did and had the opportunity to learn from you over this past year and a half. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hard to believe it's 12 years.
12 years for you, too.
With you 12 years ago, and it only seems like 2. But it's remarkable, your dedication to the village, and I can't thank you for all the work you've done. And when I look out at the audience, it's hard to believe all the faces that are former employees, former council people, and that's a tribute to your dedication. So I can't thank you enough. You did a fantastic job.
Thanks.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thanks, Rich.
Ms. Ball.
I don't know what we're going to do without your encyclopedic knowledge of the village and of historical things that have happened. You know everyone, and, well, you know most people in the village, and your ability to recollect things that have happened that are outside of the public record, of the discussions that happened in the minutia that then becomes relevant years later, has really strengthened us and really helped us keep with the same spirit, keep that same mentality going forward, so that we are aligned. And we're going to miss you. We had a very new board this last 2 years, and it's sort of like I sort of feel like Kung Fu Panda, and you've been our Oogway. But you're going on, but your spirit will still stay here with us, and we really appreciate it, and we hope you drop in and see us. Thank you.
Mr. Schatz?
I'll say simply, you have practiced, well, despite 166 council meetings, you have practiced and mastered the art of being a class act in the public sector, which is rare, and to do so after so many meetings and keep such good humor and good spirit, it's a great source of thanks that I was able in my first 2 years to have you as a mentor. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rosen?
When I think about you, Tom, it's just, as Councilman Schatz has said, I just think you're a class act. And you've served as a model, I think, for all of us, particularly the new people on council, about how to serve the public in a most appropriate manner. So we'll miss you, and we'll just see you as we drive by. You'll be walking along the side of the road, picking up trash and returning lost objects to someone who happens to have dropped them along the way. So enjoy your retirement, and I'm sure we'll be still calling on you because you have so much institutional knowledge that it's going to be impossible to replace. And you do look radiant tonight.
Well, then I guess I'll make one final comment. Tom, thank you so much. For me, again, most of us are on the newer side, and you've done such a great job helping all of us learn kind of the how, the who and the how. And admittedly, I think at every meeting beforehand, I'm turning to you and asking, so how do I do this motion? How do I make this resolution? It's an emergency one. How do I do that? I really appreciate your patience on that, and just making sure that it runs smoothly and that it looks just so effortless. I would also echo Councilman Schatz as well on the your positivity as a servant leader. To me, I think is just it's so nice to know that spirit that you have led with for the last 10 years is there, and it serves as such a great model for the rest of us. So congratulations on your retirement, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Now we'd like to ask Chief Wallace to come to the podium.
I want to read my remarks first, since I saved them.
Mayor Muething, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to your dedicated service to Amberley Village, Amberley Village Council, and the unwavering support you have showed to our village employees, and particularly the police department. Your commitment has undoubtedly made a positive impact on our community. Your abilities to see the bigger picture and always put the safety of our community and the residents as a priority does not go unnoticed. Your retirement is a great loss to us and to the rest of the council, but I have the utmost confidence in the impact you have made on each council member up there with you now will allow us to continue in a positive direction. Thanks for your leadership and friendship. Enjoy your retirement, new grandbaby, and go XU.
There you go.
On behalf of the village employees, Mayor Muething, we are honored to serve under your leadership. We want to thank you for your time in office and underlying support and undying support of the police department, both collectively, individually, and over the past 12 years. On behalf of the village employees, we are honored to present you with a commemorative brick, which will be installed in the municipal plaza out front, and a Kwanzaa cherry tree, which will be planted on the village grounds.
Thank you, Mayor. And man, I echo everything that has been said tonight. And I mean, the attendance here is a true testament to what you mean to this village and this community. It's pretty incredible. So, Mayor Muething, on behalf of all employees who have served under your leadership, we recognize that you have invested significant time in fostering a positive, ecological, hold on, here we go. You have invested significant time in fostering a positive ecological footprint and in elevating the beauty of Amberley Village. As a tribute to your efforts, the employees of Amberley Village are planting a Kwanzaa cherry tree in your honor. The Kwanzaa cherry, while an infrequent choice for an Amberley Village planting, mirrors your unique tenure. Just as you have distinguished yourself from past mayors, this tree's double pink blossoms in spring will stand distinct among the other trees. With an upright spreading structure capable of reaching 25 feet, this will always be a reminder of your standout presence within the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Bloom. At this time, we'd like to invite residents, friends, and family to express their appreciation of Mayor Muething. If you would like, you can step up to the podium, identify yourself and your address for the record, and then feel free to share any thoughts that you might have.
My name is Peg Conway, and I now live at 2412 Ingleside Avenue in East Walnut Hills. Previously, I lived for 19 years on Spring Valley Drive here in Amberley, and during that time, I served 6 terms as a village council member, 4 of them with Mayor Muething. As Tom retires from council, I think it's important to recognize that when he was first elected in 2011 and became mayor 2 years later, it was a pretty challenging time in Amberley, primarily because village finances were in crisis. The first police levy passed in 2012, which stabilized revenue, but a significant reboot of village budgeting and policies were also required on the expense side. Tom did not make this happen single-handedly, of course, but I suspect that the necessary shifts wouldn't have come about as smoothly without him. In my January 2015 nomination of Tom for a second term as mayor, I noted, he brings a methodical, level-headed approach to council business, keeping a focus on effective process while also following through on matters of detail. 8 years later, I think that sums him up pretty well. He's very consistent and reliable. Under Tom's leadership, council process became more effective as he made it routine for issues raised by council members, staff, or residents to be referred to a relevant committee for discussion, and for the committee to, as we witnessed tonight in the reports, the committee to then work the issue and then bring it back to council at an appropriate time. His methodical level-headedness helped the village move forward on major matters such as zoning at 2100 Section and Amberley Green, one step at a time. It also, in my experience, allowed for productive disagreement among council members and encouraged constructive problem-solving among the council. As for following through on matters of detail, let's remember that for Tom, this included standing at the corner of Ridge and Section with signs in support of the police levy, attending to maintenance at the community garden, organizing the village's 75th anniversary celebration, directing traffic at One Stop Drop, clearing vines and invasives at Amberley Green, as was reported tonight, and most memorably to me, even offering to stripe the ball fields if it were necessary. In my 2015 nomination, I concluded by saying, he is dedicated to the long-term well-being of the entire community, and may such dedication be his legacy to all who come after him. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conway. Who's next?
I am Nimet Zalmi, and I live and lived on Lynn Haven Drive for a long time. Mr. Mayor, Tom, the news of your retirement was a shock to me. I was in denial. I pictured you on that seat for a long, long time. You are leaving a legacy of love and wisdom that touched the lives of so many of our residents. I had the privilege to work with you and learn from you. I always appreciated your advice and admired your approach of using a gentle iron hand at every meeting, all the while delivering a smile. Because of you, the state of Amberley Village is sound, very sound. To paraphrase an old Hebrew prayer, may God bless you and keep you. I wish you good luck on all your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nimet. Anybody else? Well, with that, we have a video montage that we'd like to show. So Tammy's going to cue that up. Some photographs that have been taken over the years. So invite you to take a look.
I want to call to order the Amberley Village Council meeting. Okay. I, Thomas C. Muething, Mayor of Amberley Village, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2019 as Arbor Day in Amberley Village. Any new business? If not, we can consider the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Well, Tom, when the staff was putting that together, the most frequent comment was, he hasn't changed in 12 years. You always look the same. So, well, before I ask everyone to stand for the final gavel to be banged here tonight by Tom, I think the mayor would probably like to share a few words with us. So, Tom, this is your opportunity now to speak.
Wow. Thanks, everyone. I mean, when I came on council 12 years ago, I said I was going to do it for 4 years. And I think the fact that I was here for 12 years, when I said it was only going to be 4, I think reflects a couple things. It's been fun, and I really have enjoyed it. I think it probably reflects the fact that, it's hard to believe that you weren't tired of me after 4 years. But I did note that, when I talked to you on the phone today, Scott, you said that we were going to do the celebration of my 12 years. And so the fact that you're celebrating, it says 12 years was enough. But, there were comments made about, that the village is financially more secure, et cetera. The thing that I am most proud of is, I think back in 2011, when I came on, both from a resident standpoint and an employee standpoint, there was a lot of unease. And I think the morale of staff, I think there were committee meetings that we had the first couple of years where we talked about what do we have to get, the employee morale up. And it feels like a very different place today than it was 12 years ago. And I can't take credit for all that. It's been an incredible team effort of fellow council members, fellow staff, but it's been fun to do that during the whole year. But that is definitely what I'm most proud of. I do want to thank a couple people. First, I want to thank Rob Ebel and the whole ESP staff that video this thing. The first picture on that montage was of me going like this. And Rob told me earlier tonight this is the 96th meeting of council that he has done the video of. And Rob told me before the very first council meeting that when I was within 10 seconds of starting the meeting, I was supposed to go like this. And so that is why I tug at my tie. I want to thank the residents for putting up with me, for electing me. It has been, something that my dad said was important, and I've enjoyed it. I want to thank the current council members, my past council members for expressing the confidence of electing me as mayor and allowing me to at times probably say things I probably shouldn't say. But I really thank you. Most of all, I want to thank the employees. Tony Chesney, I thoroughly enjoyed, committee meetings with you and with all staff. The fact, when staff came in, there was always a smile with the staff. They were not always happy with what you said, but as soon as the meeting was over, we started planning for what was next. And, it wasn't always the answer they wanted, but, the staff of Amberley, as all residents of Amberley know, are very exceptional. And they think of one thing, and that is service to us as residents. And so it is something that is ingrained in Amberley staff. As somebody growing up in Amberley, I remember my dad saying that, and it's true. It's something that you just can't create again. So I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And finally, I want to thank my wife. She probably isn't happy that this is over. She has said a couple times, now what are you going to do? But she really has put up with a lot on this, both in terms of me at times saying I can't do something because I've got a council meeting coming up or something like that. But I really do thank you for everything. And I thank you for this evening, and it really has been enjoyable. Thanks a lot. And with that, I will do one final.
Just ask everybody to stand so that Tom can do the final banging of the gavel. Tap the gavel.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.